Alright, good evening ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my thoughts on Persona 4 Arena for the Xbox 360. Heads up, I'm a huge fan of Persona 4. It's one of my favorite games, so try not to be biased at all, but it's a little hard, you know. But yeah, Persona 4 Arena is a 2D anime fighter. It's made by the people who made Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, Arc System Works. But they took heavily like resources from Atlas and made sure everything had that Persona feeling, like down to the music, to the art style and everything. And it comes off really nicely. It looks exactly like a Persona game should, from the menus to the character sprites and all that. Especially the soundtrack, because pretty much there's only like 10 new songs and the rest is borrowed from the other Persona 3 and 4 game. But with that said, let's jump into the story. Alright, so the story starts up, I believe, 2 years after Persona 4. Pretty much the main character of that game is on his vacation, and he comes to Inaba, the town from Persona 4, to celebrate with his friends and all that. And obviously something goes wrong. Pretty much one of their friends goes missing, and they figure they hear about this rumor about how the Midnight Channel's back on the air, and since it's a rainy night, they decide to check it out. So at midnight, they look at the TV, a promo for this fighting tournament plays, and they're all in it. A day later, they decide to go inside and investigate. Pretty much from there, it's really, I don't know, I don't want to say it's predictable for one, but it's very repetitive. There's 13 characters, or I think through story mode you can actually only play like 12 though. It's basically, it's a what if. Like, what if this character you're playing as actually made it to the end of the tournament? So it's very similar, but the only thing that really changes is the interactions between characters throughout the story. So, like, let's say you're playing as Yosuke. Yosuke will first start off fighting Chie. Then after he beats Chie, they do the same story. You beat a character, but before you beat the character, they talk shit to you, right? Like, they do something unfriendly. They're your friends, so you know it's obviously they're being controlled or something. So they talk shit to you. You say, "Hey, knock it off, man. I'm your friend." Whatever. Then you fight. Then they're like, what was going on? You were saying mean stuff to me. And then you're like, no, you were saying mean stuff to me. So you basically find out really early on, and this happens in every story, that basically you guys are being put against each other and being controlled by someone. Eventually, yeah, you do find out who the bad guy is, and they introduce a new character who's Persona 3's Aegis's older sister, which is a robot. So it's like this older robot model. Yeah, it's nothing like crazy spoiler related. If you've seen any promo for the game, you know she's a robot and a Persona user. But really, it's an extremely predictable plot. The Persona 3 characters get brought into it because they're investigating something, and I don't know. It's not a very good story. It's definitely fan service for the fans. There's a lot of humor and stuff in there, but it's not really a developed story that we're used to from like Persona 3 and 4. You're not really gonna feel anything for these characters. It's just kind of like a nice little thing for you to look at. I gotta say though, arcade mode also has a shortened version of the story mode story, which is really cool. Yeah, I liked it. As for story though, I will approve of it just because there is so much effort they put into it. Some of the characters, their story modes are like 2 hours long. And that's ridiculous for a fighting game. If you actually read all of the dialogue and all that and don't skip much. They do this weird narration thing too, where when a character's talking, they'll skip over to their like inner thought, what they're thinking, and I thought those parts were a little unnecessary. They just kind of explain things, like they'll say, okay, oh, Yosuke, he was my friend from a couple years ago. We met during the murder mystery and all that. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a little unnecessary, but alright, story I will approve of though. It is quite a bit, especially for a fighting game. It's pretty incredible. I should probably also note we're probably gonna get a sequel to this. As for gameplay, as I said before, it's a 2D anime fighter. What they do is they rely on most fighters usually use a 6-button layout. This uses a 4-button. So you have 2 attacks, then 2 Persona attacks, and then you can combine them together. Do all these. Shoot him! Shoot him! Shoot him! Fucking cat. Alright, sorry about that. I had to go take care of a cat. But yeah, getting back to it, you have your 4-button layout. There's a lot of stuff that goes into that, like all-out attacks, and you have status elements, and you know, like there's so much. It's deep, I guess you could say. There's a lot to learn, a lot to master. Personally, I think it's definitely fun if you play around people around your skill level, but you start fighting these guys who will just tear your dick off and kind of beat you with it a little bit. Yeah, but that's to be expected with every fighting game. But it is fun to learn because it's not as hard as some of these other fighters out there. You can learn a lot. But there's so many modes in this game. You know, you have lesson mode, story mode, arcade mode, score attack mode, training mode, challenge mode, versus, network mode. You have theater mode, you have a gallery mode. And, you know, you can save your replays to watch in theater mode. Gallery mode lets you go and look at all the cutscenes, all of the dialogue. Thousands and thousands of sound clips. They have like every single character's sound clips in there. From their moans to their screams to their everything, really. There is a lot. They basically just throw it all at you too. You don't have to unlock pretty much anything besides the story mode characters. And even then, you don't even have to unlock them to play with them online or in versus, so it's pretty nice. There is a lot of content. I don't really have any complaints with the story or the gameplay. I mean, it's an awesome 2D anime fighter. Alright, going over to sound, which, by the way, I approve of gameplay. Sound. Obviously, Persona 3 and 4 were so amazing with their music departments. Again, they've got Shoji composing the soundtrack, which they do reuse a lot of Persona 3 and 4, which I'm thankful for, because those both were amazing. They use a lot of their songs, and they also include a couple new ones, mainly character themes, but yeah, I don't know, it's pretty cool. Each character has pretty much like a, I don't want to say like a remix, but they remix up an old song and make it into a new one. At least a couple of them. They'll throw in like noticeable bits from old songs, but they also have new parts of the songs too, so it's pretty interesting. As for voice acting, the pretty much everybody's back for this game except for two characters, Chie and Teddy, which you soon forget that their voices were replaced. I was a little pissed off at first, but they do sound pretty good. At least good replacements. Yeah, voice acting's good, soundtrack's good. Yeah, I approve of sound. It's very well made. As for likes and dislikes, well, for like one, I gotta say, they don't spoil Persona 4's ending, which is awesome. They don't even mention Persona 3's main character or anything like that, but it's really cool that they don't go into these stuff that could ruin you from playing the old games, which is nice. As for, yeah, it's nice. Like number 2 is the bookmark system. It basically lets you set a save point in each of the story modes, and you can just go back to that whenever you want to load it up. It's nice, especially if you want to go see like a cutscene or something. Or I thought it was an interesting feature. Usually in story modes you kind of just play through it, but that lets you go back into the story. And another like, yeah, that's not really a good like. I'll skip that one. I don't have any dislikes. I mean, for a little bit when the game first launched, there was a little bit of a slowdown online, but they've already fixed that, and it runs really nice online. Yeah, that's it for likes and dislikes. Time for the overview. Alright, so I think it's a really good game. It's mainly meant for fans of the series. I mean, somebody who never really played the other games, he won't really get these characters and why they're all friends or anything like that, or I don't know, it's fan service pretty much. As for the gameplay, if you're just looking to pick up a fighter, it's definitely worth a check out in that situation. There's a lot to learn, a lot to experiment with, a lot to play. Yeah. It's an interesting game. At least rent it. I wouldn't say go buy the $60 right now, unless you are a die-hard fan of the game and you at least like fighting games a little bit. Because otherwise you're gonna get it. You're gonna be like getting your ass kicked. You're gonna play through the story, which can be about 20 hours if you actually listen to all the dialogue. Otherwise, you'll probably just blow through the story and all that. Definitely rent it. It's worth a check out. Yeah, that ends the video. Thank you for watching another Frazzleberry video. Yeah, goodbye.